Terror threat to Indian Railways is our top focus story on the broadcast. A Pakistan-based terrorist has activated sleeper cells in India. According to intelligence inputs that have been received, target Indian railways and infrastructure across India is the sinister message of Farhatullah Ghori, a Pakistan-based terrorist. Target Hindu leaders, says this terrorist. Farhatullah Ghori is at a Pakistan ISI safe house in Lahore. Ghori wanted in India for the Rameshwaram Cafe and Akshardham temple attacks of 2002. Rameshwaram Cafe in 2024, Akshardham Mandir in 2002. That these terror attacks has been living in Pakistan, and this Pakistan-based terrorist has unleashed his plan to target Indian railways. Terror on the tracks is our top focus on India First, because Farhatullah Ghori is a designated terrorist in India, hiding in Pakistan. There is a 3-minute audio message to terrorists in India that's been intercepted by the agencies. It's also now on social media platform Telegram. And this message from this Pakistani terrorist is not only to target Indian railways infrastructure, including place stone slabs and iron rod on railway tracks to derail Indian railways and India's development story. It's gone absolutely viral. His warning is not only chilling, it's sinister. He wants to radicalize young college and university going students, and he wants them to learn how to make pressure cooker bombs. Not just that, this terrorist says that terrorists and these sleeper cells in India should replicate an October 7-like terror attack in India. The way Hamas targeted Israel, terrorists should target India in the coming times. India Today, of course, cannot independently vouch for the authenticity of these messages, but intelligence agencies are scanning these messages very, very closely. And I get you details on the broadcast. I'm Gaurav Sawant. As always, let's get started with the headlines on India First. Chaos on Kolkata streets over BJP's Bengal Bandh call. BJP Neta shot at in Calcutta. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee accuses the BJP of conspiring to create trouble. BJP seeks the Union Home Minister's intervention. Former RG car principal Sandeep Ghosh shunted out of the top medical body. CBI holds a lie detector test of the Kolkata Assistant Sub-Inspector Anup Datta, a close associate of the Kolkata rape and murder accused. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma triggers a fresh controversy in State Assembly, says he will not let Mia Muslims take over Assam. Opposition retorts, storms into the well of the House. Disqualified IAS trainee Pooja Khedkar claims in Delhi High Court she did not forge any documents, says UPSC has no power to cancel her candidature. Man-eater wolves on the prowl in Bahraich, Uttar Pradesh. 9 killed in 45 days. Forest Department launches an operation to track and nab the wolves. The mastermind of the 2002 Akshardham temple attack in Gujarat and the Karnataka Rameshwaram Cafe blast, Farhatullah Ghori has sent out a chilling message to terror sleeper cells in India. The message on social media platform Telegram has directed Islamic State terror sleeper cells to target the Indian railways infrastructure and cause massive chaos, death and destruction, not just in Delhi and Mumbai, but across India. The 3-minute long conversation has led to alarm bells ringing across the security apparatus, especially with multiple instances of Indian Railways network being targeted in recent months. The images that we are showing you on your television screen, especially some of the recent months, actually show you how iron rods and stone and cement slabs have been kept own the railway track. That's exactly what this terrorist has commanded terrorists to do in India. Farhatullah Ghori has directed sleeper cells to target Hindu leaders to create communal fissures in the country and petrol pipeline and other infrastructure to derail India's growth story. Apart from targeting the railways network in prominent cities including Delhi and Mumbai, in this video the terror mastermind is seeking to sabotage rail network, road transport system and precipitate panic across the country. His aim is to create chaos across India. The roadmap of the terror network is very clear. Their agenda is to radicalize youth in India, especially those in colleges and universities. The intelligence agencies believe Ghori is operating under Pakistan ISI's patronage from a safe house in Lahore in Pakistan. He is now being pushed to the forefront so that the focus can shift away from UN-designated global terrorists and heads of banned terrorist organizations like the Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed. So, terrorists like Hafiz Saeed and that Maulana of terror, Masood Azhar, they take a backseat and a Farhatullah Ghori is pushed on the forefront. The terrorist sitting in the lap of Pakistan's ISI wants young college students, young university students in India to be radicalized. He wants them to make pressure cooker bombs and get weapons and launch October 7 like terror attacks in India, like the Hamas did against Israel. Now, I quickly want to cut across to India Today's Arvind Ojha and Shiv Arur, who join me for more on this very, very detailed, sinister message, this chilling message. Arvind, दिल्ली पुलिस में जिन सूत्रों से आप बात कर रहे हैं, इंटेलिजेंस ब्यूरो में जिन सूत्रों से आप बात कर रहे हैं, ये क्या कोई सरफिरा है या फिर ये कुछ बहुत शातिर दिमाग है, क्योंकि रेलवे को हाल के महीनों में निशाना बनाया भी गया है?
नहीं गौरव, सरफिरा तो बिल्कुल नहीं है। साल 2020 में भारत सरकार ने डेजिग्नेटेड टेररिस्ट घोषित किया है फरहतुल्लाह गौरी को, और आतंकवाद का इसका पुराना इतिहास रहा है। साल 2002 में गुजरात में अक्षरधाम मंदिर पर इसने अटैक करवाया था, उसका मास्टरमाइंड है। साथ ही साथ अभी हाल ही में बेंगलोर में रामेश्वरम कैफे में आईईडी ब्लास्ट हुआ था, उसमें भी इसकी भूमिका की जांच जो एजेंसियां हैं वो कर रही हैं। और ये फिलहाल पाकिस्तान के लाहौर में बैठा हुआ है और वहां से लगातार ये स्लीपर सेल को एक्टिव कर रहा था। तो ये अगर जो बयान दिया है 3 मिनट का इसने, तो सीधे सीधे इसने पाकिस्तान की खुफिया एजेंसी को एक्सपोज किया है, क्योंकि ये बात कोई छुपी हुई नहीं है कि फरहतुल्लाह गौरी वो पाकिस्तान में है और इंडियन एजेंसी लगातार इसको ट्रैक कर रही है। लेकिन कई महीनों से ये अंडरग्राउंड था, लेकिन जब हाल फिलहाल में पुणे, मुंबई, उत्तर प्रदेश में जब कई यंग लड़के पकड़े गए जो रेडिकलाइज थे, खासतौर से उसमें इंजीनियर स्टूडेंट थे, जब उनको पकड़ा गया, उनसे पूछताछ हुई, इनके सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म को खंगाला गया, तब एजेंसी फरहतुल्लाह गौरी तक पहुंची और ये पता चला कि जिस तरह से इंडियन मुजाहिदीन के जो ऑपरेटर थे वो पाकिस्तान में बैठकर यहाँ पर स्लीपर सेल को एक्टिवेट करके टेररिस्ट अटैक करा रहे थे, ठीक उसी तरीके से फरहतुल्लाह गौरी और इसका जो दामाद है शाहिद फैसल, जिसने साउथ इंडिया में कई बड़े टेरर अटैक कराए जो पाकिस्तान में फिलहाल मौजूद है, वो दोनों मिलकर लगातार स्लीपर सेल का नेटवर्क खड़ा कर रहे हैं।
अरविंद रहिए मेरे साथ, ये बड़ी खबर आप बता रहे हैं। ही इज रेडिकलाइजिंग यंग मुस्लिम इंजीनियर्स, young Muslim boys, college students, university students. He's telling them, go into the forest, go into the desert, learn how to make pressure cooker bombs. Stay with me for a moment, Arvind. I want to bring Shiv into this conversation. Shiv, a chilling attempt to derail India's growth story. And Shiv, and you and I were in Israel. We were covering the Hamas terror attacks. This is extremely sinister. This terrorist wants it replicated in our country.
Well, Gaurav, you know, this 3-minute video that's been doing the round for the last 48 hours was apparently from 1 or 2 weeks ago. This is the second time that the ISI has actually unveiled Farhatullah Ghori, who was designated a terrorist, as you remember, by India back in 2020. He's been operating out of Lahore and the surrounding areas for many years, most notably known for the Akshardham attack of 2002, but has been, periodically involved in many other attacks in the country. The interesting thing is, despite the Financial Action Task Force shadow over Pakistan. The fact that the ISI unveiled a video of Farhatullah Ghori in March this year, and this 3-minute video now where he's talking about he's calling for a Fidain revolution in India. He's calling for trains to be disrupted, supply chains and logistics to be disrupted. Asking people to use whatever they can to target Hindu leaders and Hindu places of worship, etc. Is an old playbook, but the timing is very important. There appears to be an attempt to, once again energize the movement against communal harmony, because terror groups in Pakistan post the FATF action haven't been able to do very much in the country apart from the small pinpricks. What happened at the Rameshwaram cafe last year,
yes,
was a warning sign as to what could come, especially since an ISIS module was busted at that time in Karnataka.
Okay, Shiv, keep tracking that story. I'll come back to you for more. There have been multiple instances of train derailment in recent months. Even the railways has been very surprised by this sudden spike in these incidents. Take, for example, the Vande Bharat that narrowly escaped being derailed after a cement block was kept on the track. And we've got that image out for you on your television screen. The Nainpur-Jabalpur train incident on the 18th of August, when a train hit an iron rod at the Kachpura railway station. 20 coaches of the Sabarmati Express on the 17th of August, the Balasore train tragedy that claimed the lives of 275 people and injured over 1,100. You also recall the case of the terrorist who set a co-passenger on fire inside a moving train in Kerala. That was in 2023. I quickly want to cut across to Ashwini Vaishnav, Union Railways Minister, on the India Today newsbreak and the recent spate of attacks. He commented on it. Let's listen in.
ईच एंड एवरी इंसिडेंट हम लोग डिटेल्ड इंक्वायरी कर रहे हैं और कई इंसिडेंट्स में बहुत ही एक वेरी डिस्टर्बिंग ट्रेंड सा दिख रहा है जिसको सीरियसली लेना चाहिए। और मैं नहीं मानता कि रेलवे कोई पॉलिटिकल आरोप प्रत्यारोप का विषय है। रेलवे एक ऐसी संस्था है, रेलवे और डिफेंस दो ऐसी संस्थाएं हैं देश में जो कि दे शुड बी अबव पॉलिटिक्स, जिसमें हमें कहीं पर भी देश के लिए जो ज़रूरत है, देश की लाइफलाइन है, इसके कहीं पर भी कोई भी अगर नेगेटिव इसमें होता है तो उसके ऊपर हम सबको मिलके, चाहे पक्ष हो, विपक्ष हो, अपक्ष हो, चाहे गवर्नमेंट हो, चाहे सिटीजन्स हो, चाहे मीडिया हो, चाहे इंडस्ट्री हो, हर किसी को मिलके वी शुड ट्राई एंड मेक श्योर दैट रेलवे रन्स इन अ वेरी एफिशिएंट मोड।
Now, we do not want to play out what this terrorist said. We have that clipping, but I want to bring in Dr. Vikram Singh, who's former Director General of the Uttar Pradesh Police and someone who's dealt with radical Islamist terror in our country very closely. Dr. Vikram Singh, welcome on India Today. How do you read this chilling message of Farhatullah Ghori? The recent instances of trains derailing, slabs and iron rods found on railway tracks. Do you see a link, sir?
Good evening, Gauravji. Yes, I do see a very distinct link between what has happened immediately after the current Lok Sabha elections. You'll find there's been a spurt of terrorist activity in Kashmir as also in the country. This is something that used to happen about 20, 25 years ago. Cement slabs, iron rods, train disruption, track disruption, and radicalization of the youth. Why the focus on engineering graduates? Why polytechnic pass outs? Because it was easy for them to fabricate homemade IEDs, get the timing devices, get the circuitry, assemble the homemade bombs and contraptions and use them. So the first step is radicalize. Second is to create sleeper cells. Third, the budget provisions are made by the ISI and the ISIs and the declared roadmap 2047 Ghazwa-e Hind. That of course is never going to happen ever. That is a midsummer pipe's dream. But it is a cause of concern that Ghori is a known terrorist, and I would say that the railway minister was very diplomatic and extremely polite, but the ground reality is that the enemies of India are overactive because they are part of a failed state that is Pakistan, a totally bankrupt state. The only lifeline that they have is anti-India activities. That is how they can get funds from the Middle East and also from the Zakat funds. And therefore, the problem that we have at hand are the Ghazwa-e Hind protagonists and also the radicalized youth, but we have it in us, the resilience and also the buffer that we can counter them as we countered the likes of Zakir Naik the PFI, and also the Indian Mujahideen. The footsteps are very common. But yes, we need to put our best foot forward, generate actionable intelligence, and use, I would not disclose, but the latest futuristic tools. You have been to Israel. The tools that Israel is using also have a mark of quality, and they can be used and replicated in India with tremendous success.
Fair enough, and you're absolutely right. There's nothing better than human intelligence. You will have to infiltrate into these organizations to know their thinking and their actions. But this message from this terrorist sitting in Pakistan to target 1. Indian Railways, 2. Petrol pipeline, 3. Hindu leaders. At multiple levels, it does appear that there is a systematic plan to derail India. How would you read the targets that these terrorists are choosing?
They are choosing targets primarily Hindu leaders on one side and the supply chain on the other, to disrupt society on one hand and disrupt the economy on the other. Both are the two sides of the same coin. Disintegration of the country. Well, they seem to have a good think tank, but yes, but they can implement it, not even 0.5%. They've been trying it for the last 40 years, and who would know better than you that you followed them so closely? But yes, it is a cause of concern, and we need to put our best foot forward and also fire all our engines to give them a befitting reply.
Radicalize youth in colleges and universities. Train in jungles, use pressure cooker bombs. So that is something you've dealt with in Uttar Pradesh. These low intensity blasts, ammonium nitrate, ball bearings, everything that's easily available to target temples like Sankat Mochan or even Ayodhya. Sir, is there anything that India can do to ensure that these evil plans do not succeed? Because if you look at our history, terrorists succeeded for a very long time, whether it was targeting Akshardham Mandir, whether it was targeting the temple in Jammu or in Jaipur. Our temples have been targeted, Sankat Mochan temple have been targeted, our places of economy, including in Mumbai, Delhi, marketplaces, they've been targeted, our centers of science like the Indian Institute of Science, they've been targeted. So very clearly, Pakistanis choose their targets very carefully. Disrupt economy, disrupt education, disrupt society. How can we disrupt these plans?
We can disrupt by 3 ways. Extremely aggressive by going, as the Prime Minister said, "Ghar mein ghus ke marenge." We will stop at that. But what we can do internally is the fact that the community policing and extra vigilance within India to generate actionable intelligence. You go for a walk in the park and the community policing experts say that there are suspicious youths who are only practicing unarmed combat, nothing wrong with that. But they are practicing strangulation holds and also to maim and kill through bare hands. That is the cause of concern. And they have been apprehended, questioned and interrogated. And one thing has led to another. A single good interrogation leads to a gold mine of information. That is where every citizen counts and matters. That if you feel that there is any fault line, that anything that is unnatural, there is a combat indicator. A combat indicator that is not falling into place. Please report to the nearest police station or to the nearest superintendent of police. And I think you will be rewarded amply, and you would be doing a national service by reporting such undesirable activities. We see them and then we don't report. My appeal through your channel would be, if you see anything unusual, inappropriate, or anything that gives indicative of a bad fault line, please take pains to report it to the police. And I think a vigilant police department, a vigilant society can give a befitting reply.
There's another aspect. Perhaps they know if they operate in bigger groups, they can be caught. That is why this terrorist is actually telling these sleeper cells, operate in smaller cells, remain on social media, but do not be active, learn and hack into systems. So they want computer-savvy terrorists who can hack into systems, know movement of VVIPs, and then target them operating in very small teams. So that would make the job of India's intelligence agencies and counter-terror agencies very, very difficult, sir.
So true, Mr. Gaurav. You would find that the lone wolves attacks have increased. The attack on the Gorakhnath Mutt in Gorakhpur also was a lone wolf by an IIT pass out. Likewise, there were similar cases where engineering graduates were arrested and neutralized in Lucknow. They also happen to be part of the ISIS module in India. Therefore, lone wolf or in very small groups, so that their tracking and their being worked out is a very remote possibility. But again, they cannot operate in vacuum. They have to have some backup and support. And this is where their game and the cookie crumbles and the game is uncovered and they're apprehended. Again, I think we have done a fantastic job, the UP, ATS and the STF, the IB, the RNAW, the coordinated effort has seen the elimination of the SIMI, the Indian Mujahideen, the PFI, and I think these people will also bite the dust in no time. They have been able to do something that not so spectacular, but yes, whatever they have been able to do also is a cause of major concern, but I'm sure they will be neutralized in the course of time.
So how real is the threat of a Hamas-style October 7 attack in India? We've had 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks, but when I was covering the terror attack in Israel, these were like over 300-400, if not more, terrorists who'd spread out. Of course, unconfirmed reports say over 1,000 terrorists infiltrated into Israel, and over several days it continued in that country, which would mean multiple 26/11s. How real is this threat that they want to replicate a Hamas-style terror attack in India across multiple cities?
Gaurav, let me, to your question, I would like to take you to the village Pagda in Maharashtra, where there was some kind of a liberated, so-called liberated village that was totally subscribing to the Sharia law, and no past terrorists were apprehended. Illegal foreign currency was recovered, as also the drones were recovered, and arms and ammunition that were totally unaccounted for. That was done by the NIA. That again was so in close proximity. That was something very, very parallel to the Hamas attack of October 7. But it was neutralized in good time. But comparison should be between comparables. If Hamas was in a scale of 1:10, 20 out of 10, they would be something around 0.5 out of 10. But the preparation was very much there. They could have aimed their drones and their missiles, however shoddy they may have been. But the ground reality was that they were prepared to launch an attack. Therefore, we need to be extremely vigilant. The probability is absolutely minimal, but it is a cause of concern. And we need to be extremely, extremely alert to neutralize any such kind of misadventure.
It's a sinister plot to burn India, and every Indian must come together to ensure that these terrorists, whether the ones who are sitting across the border in Pakistan or their sleeper cells, the enemy within needs to be neutralized, because India is facing trouble on multiple fronts. There's a hostile Pakistan. There's a hostile Pakistan. There's an equally hostile expansionist power to the right. Then now with the change of government in Bangladesh, the situation could deteriorate on the India-Bangladesh border. And then, of course, you have this enemy within. So when you talk about 2.5 fronts, suddenly you could be talking about 3.5 fronts, if not more. We'll be tracking that story very closely. Dr. Vikram Singh for joining me here on India Today. Many thanks. I now want to shift focus to the other big story we're tracking here on India Today, and that is Russia warning the United States of the risk of World War III. Sergei Lavrov, who is the foreign minister of Russia, Putin's foreign minister for more than 20 years. So every word that he says is carefully measured and taken seriously. He said the West is seeking to escalate the Russia-Ukraine war by giving longer-range weapons, more dangerous weapons to Ukraine. And he's threatened the United States. He said that the United States is now asking for trouble by considering Ukraine's request to loosen curbs on using foreign-supplied weapons to hit deeper inside Russia. Sergei Lavrov said Russia was adjusting its nuclear weapon doctrine, and this is where it becomes very sinister, very dangerous. Russia is now adjusting its nuclear weapons doctrine, and that it was dangerous for Western nuclear powers to be playing with fire. Listen in.
Очень важно понимать, что у нас есть.
The president has already said everything a long time ago, and now we are confirming once again that US is playing with fire. The West does not want to avoid escalation. The West is looking for trouble. It is very important to understand that we have our own doctrine, including use of nuclear weapons, which is being adjusted now. American representatives are well aware about it.
Это очень опасная штука для взрослых дяденек и тетенек.
We are tracking developments on this front very closely, but that is all I have time for on India First this evening. Many thanks for watching.